So our job assistance program at PRC, we offer a variety of different services to job seekers. Again, this is all free of charge to clients that are a part of PRC. So we offer job coaching. So each one of our clients gets their own job coach. We also offer resume writing services. So if you need help creating a resume from scratch or just updating an old resume, we can help you with that as well. And then we also offer job service workshops similar to this one throughout the month at a lot of different participating libraries throughout DuPage County. So I want to go ahead and introduce you to Jan. She's one of our job coaches, and she's going to be presenting today on changing careers.
Welcome. Good morning. Here we are. We're going to help you today try to negotiate your way through the job career change. And we're going to try to, under the goals, understand how to plan for and preparing for this career change, review the various steps that we have and the tools that we have, and actually, most importantly, fill you with confidence in your journey to a new career. Why do people change careers? Well, a number of reasons. First of all, with COVID, a lot of people have lost their jobs, especially, for instance, in the hospitality departments, in the travel area. People are looking for a new opportunity. We are looking for people who might be ready for a change, have thought about a change, and now the opportunity presents itself to change. Some people have jobs that are not paying as much as they would like as far as salary and benefits, so they're looking for better pay, better benefits. And I always kind of stop for a moment when we talk about more fun. Although jobs are fun, jobs are still work, and the best jobs are the ones where you can work and have fun and work with people that you really enjoy. Fulfillment, opportunity to give back. A lot of people have gone from profit to not-for-profit jobs. And they are looking at COVID with 660,000 Americans gone from this virus, and they're reevaluating their lives. And they're thinking, maybe we need to work a little differently, not necessarily make corporations rich, but rather help and give back to the community. So they'll move from a profit to a nonprofit. Job security is important. People will move from jobs without high salaries and benefits to jobs where there are salaries and benefits and opportunities to advance. And those are also important reasons. We have some where people have no control over: layoffs, furloughs, RIF, or reduction in force. That's often used in the education world, but they no longer have a job, so they have no choice. And if there isn't a job in their area, they're looking for a career change. They're unhappy with their current career. They feel unfulfilled, as if something is missing. The dream career has changed, or people haven't kept pace with the career that they were in. And so they're looking maybe for something different. And they may want to find something that is recession or pandemic proof, something that you know is going to be there for the long term. And I guess I'm thinking more healthcare and giving back and the helping professions in general. I know teachers, bus drivers, those things are, people are desperate for those because there's so many who have left it. What's difficult about changing careers? Well, it's stressful and it's a lot of work. And I can't say this enough, because it is, it's stressful to move from one career to another within an organization. It's really stressful to move from an organization into another whole line of work. And for those who may have been out of work for a number of years, that's even more stressful, because you're thinking, do I have the skills? Have I kept up enough? What do I need to enter the workforce again? So it feels like starting over, and there's an unknown impact on finances. For instance, you want to have a salary that is commensurate with your abilities and your expertise, and you don't want to be lowballed. One wonderful thing about the state of Illinois lately is there was a law passed a year ago that said you can't ask a person who's applying what their previous salary was. I think that's wonderful, because I think that was discrimination against women, frankly. So we have those kind of laws that are helpful to us. You're not sure whether you'll enjoy the new career, but you won't know till you try it. and it requires new skills and knowledge that you might not feel like you have. I will tell you, though, it's also important to not quit your current job if you're in a current job and looking for a career change without a game plan. Now, I didn't say without a job, but a game plan. And so we'll help you with that, to put a game plan in place. So in case you need to pivot quickly, you have something to fall back on. You've already planned for it. So the career pivot versus the leap, career clusters, those careers that are all similar, and your current role could be your job, but in a different industry. And we could also have different positions within your current company. So these are career pivots. And this is a basketball player, as you know, you have to keep one foot on the floor as you pivot back and forth. Otherwise, it's called traveling. And so the pivot here is a career pivot to move from one area to another. I will tell you, as a retired nurse, I have pivoted a number of times in many years, and sometimes in the same organization, sometimes in a different one. The next slide talks about committing to the process and the preparation we talked about, and it's going to take some time. We have to be patient, try very hard to take some time. And I talk to my clients about taking a few minutes in a quiet place with a cup of coffee and tea and just say, what is it I want to do? What is it? What would make me happy? What's job satisfying? What do I enjoy? What am I good at? A lot of people will ask their people they trust, their family members and good friends, tell me what you think I would be good at. And it's amazing how perceptive people are. And if you ask them, they'll tell you. And sometimes that's exactly the area you might want to work into. Do your research on what you want to do. Charles is going to talk at length about something called ONET Online, which is a way to monitor some of those interests that you have and do some work on a kind of a fun website. But research is important in looking at areas that you want to work, organizations that you might be interested in working at, and learn about them and talk to people. We talk about networking as 80% of jobs are networking, and a lot of jobs are not identified as being open positions, but they are within a company. Somebody knows of someone who's leaving or going to have a baby and not necessarily come back to that job. And that's where networking comes in. So I talk to my job clients about friends and relatives and the church and your neighbors and parties you go to, whatever job you're interested in going for, network and ask, because people really do want to help. And then we talked about the elevator speech, the 30 seconds of trying to identify to someone who you are, what you've done, what you're looking to go towards, and what job you might be interested in. And we call it an elevator speech. So if you're at the top of a building, you get an elevator, and by the time you get to the ground floor, that's the amount of time you have, 30 seconds, that will give you an opportunity to tell your story in a very short time. And we always try to tell people, have that elevator speech handy in your back pocket so you can pull it out no matter what, no matter who you see, and identify who you are and what you want and what you've done. And a lot of people will say, okay, that sounds like something I know of, and kind of move you in the right direction. So the self-assessment is important. And we talked about why you're considering a change. What's the extent of the desired change? How you want to approach getting into a new career or a career within the same organization, and what are your strengths, what are your interests, and what is or isn't in alignment with your career. Now, keep in mind, we want to let careers that have gone by the wayside, let them go. And I'm thinking coal mining and travel agencies and some of the jobs that we'll never see again. Because of the technology and because of all the new information coming out. So make sure you're in alignment with what you can do, what you're interested in, and what is going to be a viable career. We think healthcare is good. We think that anything with the environment and green, if the infrastructure bill passes, we're going to look at a lot of green jobs, environmental jobs. Those are things to get into. Healthcare is always a safe bet. We'll all, especially the baby boomers, as we move towards needing more healthcare, that's always a good bet. But not everybody is cut out for that. Teaching, is obviously bus drivers are desperately needed. What moments or situations have brought you joy? And what I have found in my career, as much as I love nursing, what I really love is teaching. So I found myself teaching nurses as I got older in the career. So whatever brings you joy, whatever, when you're doing something and you see this sort of, you're in the zone or in a flow that people have called different things, you know that's the job for you. And nobody has to tell you that, you'll know that. So I always advise people to interview for different jobs that are interesting for you. You may not get the job, but you've also practiced an interview too. So there's never anything that you don't come away with from that. And find your strengths. Listen to the feedback. As I mentioned, ask your orbit, the people in your orbit, what you would be good at, and listen to what they say, because they will tell you. And pay attention to when you're most productive, as I've talked about. Conduct a simple SWOT analysis. That's something often used in business. It's called strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. And it's when people do some strategic planning. Keep in mind your job search is a strategic plan. So you want to write down what things you're good at, what things you might need to beef up on. And I think off the top of my head, maybe computer skills, for instance, in this day and age. And what are opportunities? Those are the new green jobs. Those are the jobs that are, and you can look this up, just Google jobs that are needed the most right now, and you'll see a list. And then the threats would be, is this job going away in a short time? Is this an interim job? Is it a job that might be in a short-term business where that business might fold? So be very careful about how you actually go through your SWOT analysis, and be brutally, as I say, brutally honest with yourself. Utilize free online resources to find your key strengths and interests, and they're out there. Charles will talk more at length about one that we use all the time, ONET Online. And then identify the necessary skills. So now look at job postings. Think about the skills that you can bring to the job. Use a skill matching tool. One of them here is Tag Crowd, but there's others. And that will mesh your skill set, your resume with the job description that will be you've identified on a website of an organization you're interested. So, or Indeed, we look at, say, Indeed.com is fine to come up with some of the open jobs, but go to that website of that job to actually apply if that's what you're interested in. But Tag Crowd helps identify your skills with the job description. And LinkedIn is helpful to put a LinkedIn, get yourself on LinkedIn, look at the profiles of people who have the job you want or are interested in. Look at their work history and how they describe their roles. And yes, give them an email or call them and ask them, tell me a little bit about the job you're in. I'm interested. And I will tell you, they'll be happy to help you. There's a lot of skills that are transferable. And what I often talk about with clients is, what are some of those soft skills and hard skills that people have? Now, soft skills are, I'm a team player, I'm detail oriented, I'm empathetic, I'm prompt, I come to work on time, I'm kind. Hard skills, more computer savvy, I'm an electrician, I'm a plumber, I'm a teacher. Those are more the hard skills, that, or a nurse, those kind of things. And take those that you have from your previous career and which ones will be most relevant for your new one. Which of these are transferable? The soft skills, I will tell you, are always transferable. Soft skills go from one job to another, one career to another. And I will tell you, with the people that I've hired in the past, my most success have been the ones with soft skills, with or without a real strong hard skill resume. And those soft skills will transfer, and then you can learn the hard skills. But show me a good, kind, considerate, detail-oriented, fun-loving person who can learn easily, because people are reasonably intelligent. People can learn skills. And I'll show you a long-term employee, because those are the ones that really, really count. How might you build or enhance them? And which one should you highlight? Well, the ones you highlight in an interview are the ones that will be germane to that job, the ones that the job description description is asking for. The next one is just simply a list of the ones. They're really all soft skills here, except project management. That's not easy. That's not easy to learn. That's a tough, hard skill. Computer skills, management skills are hard. The days of going through the ranks of being a worker and then become a manager are long gone. Management skills is its own set of skills. And so I put that down as hard skills because it's not just learning the job and then becoming the boss. It's management skills and lots of learning associated with that. Closing the skills gaps. How do you know if what you have and what you want, how big of a gap is that? And how do you identify what to do about it? The biggest thing is education. Online classes, continuing ed, Coursera, Udacity, Springboard. COD is a wonderful resource for skills. If it's a community learning, it could be going for an associate degree, classes for that, graduate degree, certifications, software training. Paul talked about the software training at People's Resource that is free, which we strongly recommend. And then mentoring programs, industry event or conferences, professional organizations, volunteer or internship opportunities. I tell a quick story about one of my job clients who's had a basketball shop in one of the suburbs in the area, and it burned down. It was his whole life. And he came to People's Resource Center and just was not sure. He's a little bit older, not sure what to do. And so he volunteered at People's Resource Center. And while he was getting the insurance and all the paperwork associated with the burned down shop, he volunteered, and then he took on a position at People's Resource Center. And to my knowledge, he's still there, although I haven't been there a while since we've been closed, so I don't know for sure. But that was an opportunity to volunteer and then move into a job, which can help. Healthcare supporting staff is an example of some of the jobs available that are out there. These are some of the job titles. Look at the salary range. This is, and I'm going to guess this is a pharmacy technician, but $106,000 is a very healthy salary. So people are hiring with 83% of hires have a bachelor's degree or higher in healthcare, but it's just an example of the support staff. And careers that are on the rise. And again, we can look at the top 15 in-demand jobs. We can look at what's hot in 2021, listed here, and I talked a little bit about it. Tech, healthcare, e-commerce, obviously that's a big one. Customer service, always, renewable energy, and digital marketing. And so I'm going to turn it over to Charles now, who's going to take it from here and help you with the ONET online. It's off without making a big noise.
All right, Jan, thank you so much. Cheryl from the Elmhurst Library, thank you for hosting this. This is a particularly valuable and timely workshop. It really is. Changing careers. I would say for most people, you are going to change careers, maybe a number of times in your lifetime. It's not one, you get in one thing and you're there for a lifetime. Things will come and go. I have a relative of mine that was a telephone switchboard operator, okay? If you look that up, there's not going to be a lot of job postings for telephone switchboard operator. Just not there anymore. So things are going to come and go. There are some constants, as Jan mentioned. The healthcare, that's going to, I hate to use the word always, but I would say it will always be needed. So let's move on a little bit here on to ONET Online. ONET Online, and the web address is ONET, the letter O, NET, online.org. It's a safe site. It's a government site, U.S. Department of Labor Statistics site. No charge. I've used it with clients for 5 years and I've never received an email from them. I've never received an opportunity to upgrade for whatever money per month. So this is a valuable site. Spend some time on it. In the little search box, you can, for example, if you think you want to go into education, a teacher, for example, you put elementary teacher in that box, you will get a instant list of related occupations, probably 20 or 30, maybe 50 related occupations. If you click on any of those, it's going to take you to a I would guess 10 to 20 page report that tells in detail what are the skills you need, what are the soft skills, what are the hard skills, really, what do people do in that profession? You may not know what people do. You may wake up one day and talk with a friend and say, you'd be suited for this profession. Wonderful. Put it in that search box and spend some time and see, is this something that is suitable for me? Do I have these skills? Can I obtain skills? Hard skills, as Jan mentioned, can be learned. Soft skills also can be learned. But you want to know, is this something that I want to go back to school to get a nursing degree? That's an individual decision, naturally. So spend some time with this. You can do it by occupation on the bottom. You can do it. You could say, well, I'm a Microsoft Excel specialist, and put that in the little advanced search box, and you'll get a whole list of occupations that, yes, we love people that are Microsoft Excel experts. So you can do it in advanced search. Crosswalk, that could be different things like standard industrial code. There's different things like that you could put in the crosswalks. On to the next. All right, my next move. Let's say that you've been in a situation where you have not been employed in a number of years, months, and you're not really sure what you want to do. Self-introspection is a wonderful thing. Speaking with family members, speaking with your job coach. If you have a job coach at PRC, speak with them. But here is a website where you can do a little bit of research on yourself. You can put in there, tell us what you like to do. And it's a little self-assessment quiz that says, a question might be, I like to work with wood. Another example might be, oh, I would love to come up with a cure for cancer, come up with a drug cure for cancer. Okay, so that's the kind of questions you'll get about, I'd say about 60 questions, take you 15 minutes. And it'll say, well, maybe you should be an entrepreneur. Maybe you should open up a coffee shop. Maybe you should do this. It's going to kind of guide you into where you might be suitable. You can also do it by industry, healthcare, administration, keywords. What are keywords, by the way? Keywords are words that you will find in a job description, an online job description. You could find it on ONET. ONET is a good resource for keywords that should be in your resume if that's the field you're going towards. It'll give you a lot of, so it's a great, these are both government sites, by the way, My Next Move and onetonline.org. Next.
Oh, so it's two separate sites.
Yeah. So the question was, are they two separate sites? Yeah, I think there is a link actually from ONET Online to My Next Move, but mynextmove.org, they're both U.S. Department of Labor Statistics, good sites. Okay, so networking, Jan spoke, she threw out a scary number, I almost fell out of my chair there. 80% of jobs are never advertised. 80% of jobs are filled within a company. I know this from my years of experience, getting emails or paper memos in the past. We have an opening in communications. Do you know anybody that would be suitable? I would speak to Chris. I say, Chris, I know you're involved with looking for a career in communications. Why don't you apply? Chris uses my name as a contact in the application, that she knows somebody that works there. That's a big thing. So networking, is very, very critical. How do you network? Well, a few different ways. Talk to friends, talk to your neighbors. I had a client that wanted to work at a hospital, not having much success getting in one. And she had a neighbor 2 doors away for 10 years, let's say, and just knew her from waving, that kind of thing. Went over and spoke with this person and found out that this person was involved with the hospital. And this client ended up getting a job at the hospital that she was at because she knew her for 10 years. Good, that's a good networking thing. You can honestly network with anybody and everybody. Now, that doesn't mean that you go up to Jan on the street and say, hey, Jan, I need a job and I want to work in this field. Probably Jan is going to not be too happy about that. Okay. What you want to do, people love to talk about themselves. People that you know, get into a conversation. How do you start it? Not I need a job or I want a new career. You get into it by saying, Jan, you know, I see you all the time. I never really knew what you do. What do you do? And Jan proceeds to tell about PRC and job coaching. And you say, well, gee, I like the helping idea. Tell me what you do. Jan would be an excellent person to talk to if you wanted to get into a nonprofit, for example. So anybody and everybody, LinkedIn. Now there's an important one. LinkedIn, how can it help you? Well, you can follow people on LinkedIn. You can connect with them on LinkedIn. If you know what your target industry is, put it in that LinkedIn box, and you're going to get a lot of profiles, a lot of information about people, hopefully in this area, that you could connect with, so to speak. It used to be that you might call that person on the phone and say, Charles, I'd like to work in the industry you're involved with. Do you have a few minutes? Could I talk to you about what you do? That's the way it used to be. Today, probably LinkedIn, direct networking, excellent. LinkedIn is a very, very important one. Virtual conferences, organizations. Yeah, there's different organizations that may run networking. I'm not going to state this for a fact, but many of the local churches used to have job network groups or clubs, so to speak. If you can find anything like that, do that, get involved. And let's see what else we want to talk about here. Okay, here we go. How about the next slide, Paul? Okay, why you're making a change. The important thing, you meet with an employer, first question is going to be, Jan, you were a nurse. Why the switch into education to be an elementary school teacher or assistant? And Jan has to have the answer for that. Okay. If Jan doesn't answer that question correctly, that's a red flag. That's like, gee, Jan was kind of muddled through that answer. It has to be, here's why I'm interested in it. I had the stressful career in nursing. And at this point in my life, I would like something, maybe a better work-life balance. You have to have a reasonable, something that sounds right, okay? It can't be, well, yeah, I want to get out of nursing because everybody I've ever worked with in nursing is not a good person. And I know that would never happen. But you don't want to blame it on your last workplaces. You don't want to blame it on people. Remember this, and this workshop is not on interviewing, but negative remarks by you during the interview leads people to believe that Chris is going to be a complainer. She's complaining about her last workplace. You never want to complain. And that includes that answer, why? Why are you changing careers? That's a big one. All right, transferable skills. Jen had spoken to this, and I will tell you, the soft skills, communication skills, and I agree totally with what Jan said, those are critical. You can have all the technical skills in the world. If you cannot get along with other people, if you don't have a pleasing personality, if you're not enthusiastic, it's not going to work out. It really won't. So a lot of your skills are going to be soft skills. It can be your communication skills. You can say, well, what are my communication skills? Well, at this point in time, I was in marketing. Okay, well, that's a form of sales. You have to really drill down, look at the job descriptions, look at ONET online, and see what soft skills are required. And the soft skills are, really going to be very, very important. They're very transferable. The other ones are certainly the hard skills, your computer skills, your physical skills. Could be if you wanted to work for Amazon, maybe you have to lift 60-pound boxes all day. Okay, that's a skill. All right, how do you do that? Resume, cover, letter, and professional summary. Your skills have to be in your resume. They could be alluded to briefly in a cover letter. Your summary statement in your resume should say, I have 20 years of experience with these. If there's one skill you want to highlight or two skills, fine, you can put it in there. That's what a cover letter is, a short letter. Elevator pitch.
Actually, should we use the job description in order to write the cover letter, or what are your thoughts?
Well, okay, the cover letter is a short letter, okay, maybe 10 lines. I like to be brief and concise with a cover letter. And it could be the first thing, I'm applying for this position at the bakery because I love baked goods. Okay, that could be your start, something like that. And then you get into, I have 20 years of experience, and maybe throw out a couple of your skills if they relate. Again, they relate. And the same thing is true of that 30-second elevator pitch. They don't want to know about your home life. They don't want to know personal things. If they did, they would ask you, can you tell us something personal? No, they want to know in 30 seconds, should I be spending time with you? If you have nothing to say during the elevator pitch, I will tell you, it's not going to go well. The rest of the interview will not go well.
One thing commission too, just to kind of answer your question, you can take some of the main skills of the job that you're applying for, and if you have transferable skills from your previous job, you can say, my skills in managing 8 full-time staff members would translate well to this particular skill that you're looking for in this job. You are kind of maybe picking and choosing maybe 2 or 3 of like the main, the main pieces of the job description, because you want to also make sure that if they can see you want to be able to see the job that you're transitioning from, that you still are able to get transferable skills that can be applied to the job that you're applying for. And that's, I think, why the cover letter is really important in that part, because that doesn't always, they can understand that story by looking at your resume. And I think that's where the cover letter is really important. And most employers will look at the cover letter. I know that there's some employers don't read them, but I think that's going to be a really important piece to sharing your story as to why you're changing careers. So make sure with that. That's usually at the beginning of your resume, where it's like the summary of like who you are as a professional and what you're looking for. So that's typically, Charles, like maybe 2 or 3 sentences, and that's like right at the top of your resume.
All right, we already spoke to LinkedIn and networking and the interview, so we can move on to the next. Okay, connect the dots. Highlight your transferable skills. That's really what an employer wants to know. If you were in one profession, you're switching to another, they want to know, can you take those skills and use them over here? If you have Microsoft Word, I mean, that's applicable in just about any situation today, administrative, management. If you don't have basic Microsoft Word skills, it's going to be difficult. That would be a great transferable skill. Highlight how they've added to your previous track record. Well, we talk a lot at PRC about achievements and accomplishments. That's how you set yourself apart. Achievements and accomplishments. At my last position, even though it's not the same industry, I did this, and you can use a metric. Sales increased 500% under the 5 years I was at that organization. It could be something as simple as this. The last organization I worked at, they didn't know what a mail merge was, and they were hand addressing envelopes and sticking stamps on them. Okay, I came in and taught what a mail merge was, and the company became profitable because they didn't spend their time sticking stamps on mail. Okay, then that's an example how they'll benefit the new employer. That's really what an employer wants to know. Are you going to benefit this organization? Are you going to be an asset, or are you going to be an expense? In plain English, you may have the greatest personality, you may have a lot of enthusiasm, but at the end of the day, if the employer doesn't feel that you're going to benefit the organization, I guarantee you're not going to get that position. So it's always, how can I benefit the organization? Not how can the organization benefit me? And that may sound a little harsh, but that is reality. And that's what I just spoke about, what you'll contribute. SAR statements. SAR are statements that questions you will probably get during the interview. And that's a situation, you may get a question like, have you ever had a time when you had a disagreement with a supervisor? Tell me what happened. That's a situation that you have to speak to. The situation was, yes, I had a disagreement with the supervisor, and I really didn't understand what was expected of me. So I had a cup of coffee, sat down for an hour with the supervisor, and learned why the supervisor was upset with me. And after that little interchange, we were able to work together successfully. So it's a situation, and then the action you took, and then the result, which should always be positive. So be aware of that. Have examples in interviewing. All right, communicating your transition plan. Why? Why do you want to transition from education to healthcare? The opposite that Jan spoke about. Well, honestly, I've always wanted to be a nurse. I've always liked helping people. The hospital never intimidated me. The healthcare field didn't intimidate me. I always wanted to do it, but due to certain constraints, I wasn't able to do it. At this point in my life, I really want to do this. And that might mean you have to take some classes. You have to get some certifications. You have to show that this is really something that you want to do, not something like on a whim, like, oh, I'd love to be an astronaut. Great, not going to happen. Okay. One thing I do want to say, 2 words that we spoke about a lot here: work and success. Okay. Success only comes before work in the dictionary, nowhere else. You have to do the work, and that might mean taking classes, getting certifications. That will lead to success in the new field. If you've taken classes in a new career area, well, it shows. You wouldn't sit in those classes, whether online or not, if you weren't sincere about making the transition. So again, work, you have to do some work. That'll lead to the success. And we spoke quite a bit about transferable skills, so I think we can move on from that. All right, more seasoned workers. That's a funny word, seasoned, isn't it? Something sounds like food-wise, like throw a little spice on there, season it up a little bit. Well, what this word really speaks to is people that have been around for a while, like me. I've been around a while, so I'm seasoned. And let's say I wanted to go into a new career, something totally different, not a big thing. It's pretty easy at a seasoned stage to say, this is what I'd like to do. Here's the reasons. Again, it all boils down to, is the employer going to be comfortable? You need a reason. Well, I need a change in my life. I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of whatever it is that you're doing. I'm tired of it. Oh, and here's the reasons I'm tired of it. Here's the reasons I want to make a change. That's the big red flag thing in the interviews. Why? Why do you want to make the change? Okay, so be ready for that one. Transitioning. This little graphic has one ladder on it. Doesn't mean you have to begin at the bottom of the career ladder. Let's say you were in corporate America for 30 years and you were middle management. Well, what I would say is more realistic. If you took 3 ladders and tied them together, right smack up against each other, you don't have to start. You have a management ladder, you have this ladder or that ladder. You don't have to start at the bottom. You might be able to make a parallel move from the 3rd rung of your ladder, maybe to the 2nd rung of the adjoining ladder. Doesn't have to be all the way at the bottom. Why? Because a lot of your skills are transferable and can really make a difference. That you may, instead of being an entry-level person, you may start something above that, whatever they would call it. So think of it as that. Like, I'm leaving this career. Do I need to start at the bottom? No, you don't. You need something, again, that's going to work. Other things, experience, maturity, and tenure can outweigh some skill gaps. Yeah, Jan spoke about that. Jan, and I agree. I'd rather have somebody that is missing a skill. You can learn that. Okay, the skill gap is not as important. I will share with you that probably most people, when they interview, they're nervous. Maybe they're not enthusiastic. And if you're not enthusiastic, if you don't show enthusiasm, the employer says, well, okay, Jan is over here because she needs a job. Like everybody needs a job, right? So Jan has to be enthusiastic. She also has to have the skills, but let's say she's lacking one skill. Jan has a good brain on her. She can certainly learn this skill. I would rather have an employee, if I'm doing the hiring, that needs to learn one skill or 2 skills that is teachable, learn, and has the ability to learn, than somebody that has all the skills and is not enthusiastic. Okay, so a couple of big words that at least I like to use in PRC: enthusiasm, joy. Jan spoke to that word joy. I will tell you that an employee that finds joy in their work is a wonderful, wonderful employee. You agree with me on that, Jan? Okay, Jan agrees. And it's a true thing. If you enjoy your work, it isn't work. You look forward to going to work on Monday morning. You don't say, oh, shucks, it's Monday morning. It's like, thank you, God, that it is Monday morning, that I can go to work. That's the employee that an employer would really like. All right, how do you know when you're ready? Practice your story, practice with your coach. Your resume has to convey, again, the transition. That's really what you're selling here. And I think of the resume as a sales presentation. I think of the interview as a sales presentation. And you have to be able, 20th time I've said it, answer that. Why are you making the transition? And why are you making the transition? Certifications and skills. At PRC, we have access on the next page. You can go to the next page, Paul. It's called KX. And these are tests that are accessible if you, through PRC at no charge. And there's about 900 assessments. Recently, I had a person that wanted to be a 911 call operator for DUCOM, which is part of DuPage. That's if you dial 911 in this county, you will go to DUCOM. And they take the call. There was a 911 test available. I didn't think there would be, but there's 900 assessments. This person took the test and put that in her resume and actually interviewed with DuPage County for this position. So that, yeah, it could be something very specific. It could be more general. It could be administrative assistant. Could be sales. I was in sales, so I happen to know there are a number of sales related assessments. These are tests that you can take, put in your resume. It's a sales point. I scored recently 99% on Microsoft Excel KX test. So assessments are important. Employers use these also. And I think that's about it. All right. Show your passion. Now there's a strong. The KX, well, you won't be able to do it yourself.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Talk.
it's a paid, it's like a paid subscription that PRC has.
Oh, okay.
So if you're a PRC client, you would just go through us and we would send you a link with the assessment that you want to do. You just go down and
Oh,
take it,
okay.
but it's got to go.
Yeah, speak to your coach on it.
Okay.
These KX assessments are a wonderful tool. Okay, next page. Here's a word that I really like clients to learn to use, and the word is passion. And what does the word passion mean? You can use it loosely. You can say, I have a passion for deep dish pizza. I have a passion for this. I have a passion for that. But really, you want to show that I have a passion for the nonprofits, for helping people. That's why I want to do something at PRC. That's why I would like to help people at the Elmhurst Library. Okay. This is something that I really want to do. And that has to come through in your resume. It has to come through at your interview time. So passion is a strong word. Stay positive. Quick advice. Don't spend your time speaking with people that say, can't be done, or nope, you're not qualified, blah, blah, blah. Stay with people that are uplifting as best you can, that lift you up, that encourage you, encouragers, that yes, you can do this. Maybe you need to take some classes. Maybe you need to take a certification. But can you do this? The answer is yes. So stay there. And benefits of career change. New skills, and Jan spoke to this, earn more money, greater happiness, freedom. I think that's really important. I really do. You spend a good portion of your life working, and it should be something that you really enjoy. So that's greater happiness. Control your career, develop new relationships, jumpstart or revive your career. I think we've pretty much spoken to all of those during this workshop.